cool with it, I'm cool with it, man. It's better, man. Hey, thanks again, man. Appreciate it. Double up. 3 or 4 times, I ain't telling no lies, I just run it up. Never let a hard time humble us. Double up. I ain't telling no lies, I just, I ain't telling no lies, I just 5, 4.
What's the story? Are you not happy, or you're only half happy, or
still to be happy about?
You're up 2-0.
Job's not finished. Job finished? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, what up? What's good? What's good? What's good? I'm here. I'm D Stanford, the professional, man. I'm here with my boy DJ Low. What's going on, DJ?
I'm feeling good, man. How you feeling?
I'm feeling absolutely incredible, man. It's a new live, man. We getting it popping on some things, man. So for those of you that don't know, this is a Buffalo, Charlotte, Atlanta connection, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? This is world travelers, whole wranglers. You know what I'm saying? Like sports talkers, barbershop beefers. You know, that's how we get it in. My man DJ and I are particularly known for saying what most people would say is shock value, what people are oftentimes thinking, but they don't necessarily want to say because they want to keep it PC. But
the radicals,
yeah, the rebellious, the outcasts, the people who don't really give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? So with that, without further ado, man, I don't even want to delay this anymore. Today's conversation is a conversation about killers, the most lethal people in sports history. Not restricted to gender, not restricted to any particular sport. We just want to have like a brief conversation about the most lethal killers in their particular craft and what separates them for the rest of the field from the rest of what we would identify as the elite players. So without further ado, I know y'all saw me start with Kobe. I know that's one of DJ's personal favorite guys. But I'm gonna give DJ the floor, man, and let him start. It's just a brief conversation. Let's kick this gen on.
Like what you shown in that clip, to me is like a real example of a killer. Like, I'm not saying it's wrong to celebrate when you're up or when they didn't happiness to be up because the job wasn't done. Somebody like that, somebody that's willing to come to the game 2 hours before, sweat and work hard as if the game was at that specific time, and then playing the game. Like, Kobe is one of those people that leaves the gym last and enters the gym first. So him being who he was and him having success, it wasn't by surprise because he was willing to put in work that others wasn't. And I think that's something that all killers have in common, no matter what the sport is.
I agree with you 100%. Like, I've always, so if I'm keeping it a buck, if I'm keeping it all the way 100, I hated Kobe because I was a Mike fan. I was a Mike fan. I was a Carmelo fan. I am a Carmelo fan. I am a Mike fan. And so with me being legit fans of those guys, you know, the teams that those guys are directly affiliated with for the most part. I mean, if you exclude Denver and Portland, you're talking about Chicago and New York. And
right.
If there's two teams that Kobe has notably killed over the course of his career, it's been Chicago and New York. And there's no, I think you like kicking it off with Kobe, especially considering the fact that he's on the cusp of being first ballot Hall of Fame and really going into it, really getting his just due. I think it's only fitting that we kick off with him because I feel like he's in terms of basketball, he's as lethal and as focused as you can get, with the exception of maybe one guy, and that's the guy that Go ahead.
That's who I was finna speak on. Like, see, I think any killer or anybody that's a master at what they do is a little off in an area of life. I can't say what specific area, but something was different. Like as far as Jordan, him literally creating narratives or creating a story about somebody speaking bad about him to just demoralize the competition. Now that's some shit that's next level. Like you know what I'm saying? Like next level competitor.
I mean,
Killer.
you don't need to go any, and this is what scares people, right? So you got Mike inducting, you have Mike doing the induction speak for Kobe in the Hall of Fame speech, right? And this is, as I spoke to my fraternity brother about earlier yesterday, this is the same guy that flew out the guy who beat him his sophomore year to make it to the high school. He flew this guy out just to point him out in the crowd and make fun of him. He took shots at Dean Smith. He took shots, blatant shots at Dean Smith because Dean Smith was the only person that's ever stopped him from getting 40 a night. Like this is that guy we talking about. So when you talk about conjuring up, I don't know if you remember that conversation that BJ Armstrong had on Vlad TV, but he talked about how if you were in practice and somebody yelled out what's the score during the scrimmage and you said anything other than 0-0, you were subject to get punched in the fucking face. Because Mike didn't want to hear that shit. He wanted to kill you every possession. So if you thought that you was up at any point in the game, yo, and Will Perdue caught the blunt of that. The stories go on and on. I
love that though.
I do too. I think that's one of the reasons why that prompted us to have this conversation about this. Because I mean, in the larger scheme of things, when we talking about killers, man, we talking about people. We talking about people who have a blatant disregard for your humanity in that point in time.
Right.
So now that we've touched on basketball, which is both of our the loves of our lives, what's who comes next on your list in terms of another sport that you find elite in terms of being a certified mercenary?
Well, I watched a documentary, so that kind of solidified things for me as far as how serious his approach was. But I'm talking about Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
Like, they said that he was under some kind of hypnosis because he knew how to focus himself for the moments that he was at a match for golf. So that right there, I fell in love with it. Like, yo, and when you watch him, it was like he was unimpressed until he won. Every hard shot that he made, he wasn't moved until he knew I won. And the way he dominated, I think we have never seen someone dominate like that in a particular sport.
Yeah, I think
Tiger Woods is for sure killer.
I think you're 100% on point with that, especially from a longevity standpoint. Now, I don't know if I necessarily. I think that there have been other people, competition wise, that have for short spurts of time, kind of shit on everybody in their general vicinity. One of my favorite golfers is John Daly, and he had a run that was something crazy, bro. But as far as being able to put it together for as long of a time in terms of straight up dominance, I don't think that there's, especially in the modern era where, you know, the golf courses are extremely hard and the competition levels are so far advanced because of technology and things of that nature that I don't think that there's anybody out there that's touching Tiger.
Right. Yeah.
I think
that's another.
I think the next person that would have popped up on my list in terms of like certified killers, I think the next person that would have popped up on my list would have been Tom Brady though.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That dude. I mean, I could even throw Tom Brady and Bill Belichick in that conversation, because I mean, like if there's ever a translation of demeanor from the head to the toe, that's what you want that to look
Bill
like.
Belichick.
Yeah, I mean, and with them is by any means necessary. Deflate gate, spy gate, whatever
Spy
gate you want to
gate.
open up, they willing to go through that motherfucker to get that dub. You know what I'm saying? So people call it cheating, but somebody said if you ain't cheating, you ain't working hard enough.
I ain't gonna lie. It ain't cheap till you get caught.
Hey, facts.
That's only in regards to sports.
Facts.
Nothing else.
Facts.
Gotta throw that out there.
Shout out to
Just
Black
in
Men
case
Don't
the
Cheat.
mind wonder. Black men definitely don't cheat.
Hey man, let me ask you, man, from how much does longevity play into your criteria when you evaluating greatness?
I think that's one of the main components for me. I always say when I'm talking about greats, elites, Hall of Fame, I think it's a conjunction of a bunch of different things. It has to be who they played, playoff runs, accolades, skill set, like longevity, and all of that in one. So that matters to me for sure. That's a big part of how I judge who is great and why certain players like Tom Brady, it's going to be hard to ever exceed Tom Brady in any metric that you want to use. Like there probably are more people who are skilled than him or throw more accurate or throw further, throw on a run or whatever. But if you use every single component that it takes to make someone great and where they rank at that specific thing, across the board, nobody is even close to Tom Brady, which is the only metric that I use. It has to be everything. Everything has to check out.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. For the longest time, myself, if I'm just keeping it honest, myself and quite a few people use the Joe Montana's undefeated in the Super Bowl rationale to just kind of like dismiss what Tom has done. And you know, for me personally, being from Buffalo, not necessarily being a Bills fan, but being a Bills supporter, I'm double bonded in my hatred for Tom Brady. But one thing that has never changed with me is, regardless as to whether I hated a person for what they were doing to my team or the depression that they might have brought to my city, I've always had an appreciation for what they were able to bring to their particular craft. I think that there's always been a certain level of beauty in that, and I think that there's a certain level of appreciation that you should not overlook. And another thing that I like about Tom that I didn't like about like players like LeBron, that I liked about Mike as well, is like those guys liked to be hated. They didn't care about being labeled the bad guy, the good guy, the protagonist, or the antagonist. They embraced it all, and whatever the fuck you felt at that time, that was on you, because they gonna kill regardless.
See, like to touch back on that specific part of Montana, and it's the same thing with LeBron and Jordan, but I think it's a little bit different. Montana had 4 rings he never lost. Now, if Brady went to 10 Super Bowls and he had 2 and lost, if my bad, my apologies. Okay. Now, if Montana, I mean not Joe Montana, sorry. If Tom Brady was to go to 10 Super Bowls, win 2, and get crowned as the greatest for just going. He won, but he didn't win as much as Joe. You know what I'm saying? 4-0 is unprecedented, but when you go about 10 times and you win the majority of them, I think that's it. I think that 6-4 or whatever that record is, where you're winning more than losing, that trumps undefeated because you went more and you won more. Now, in another case, if you 4-6 and you lost more than one versus the dominance that another player had when he's 6-0, you can't surpass them as far as greatness. Now, you can be a better basketball player, but you can't surpass them as far as greatness because your 4-6 record isn't greater than that 6-0. But 6-4 is greater than 4-0 to me.
So how do you measure up the 10 of 11 for Bill Russell versus the 6-0 and Michael Jordan?
Well, I look at it like this, because the 10 or 11 rings that you get, that's some crazy shit. Like, that don't just happen. But like I said, I take into account everything. There was about 10 teams at the time versus about 28. Level of competition, I can't help that he was more athletic or better than who he faced. He only can play who you put in front of him. But you only play 8 motherfuckers a year.
Well, one could argue that because it was only 8 teams in the league on both sides, if I'm not mistaken, 16 teams total, or maybe it was 8 teams total. I'm not 100% sure, but one could argue that because of the smaller amount of teams at the professional level, the level of talent was consolidated as well, which is why which is why a lot of people, from an argumentative standpoint, although they love and appreciate what Red Auerbach was able to do with the Boston Celtics, they also hold him accountable for creating a system that lacked parity, because him being the chairman of the voting of the NBA draft board at that time and orchestrating that system, he kind of catered to himself. So
yeah, I was gonna say, like, well, of course I didn't watch it. It's way before my time, So I look at it like, how many Hall of Famers did that Boston team have?
5
versus the other Hall of Famers, but the other teams.
Yeah.
How many other teams around? You know, the talent in the teams were consolidated, as you say. How many other teams had at least 3 Hall of Famers?
I think most of those teams had at least 3 Hall of Famers. When you look back at those teams,
I would want to see.
Yeah, I mean,
I would want to be
this is
that,
obviously this is pre-merger, but I'd be interested to see those teams during that entire Bill Russell run myself.
Right. How many players that played with Wilt Chamberlain were Hall of Fame when they were going against the Boston Celtics, and he's getting 50 a game and 44, and they're still losing.
Yeah, because on the other side of that spectrum, you got Jerry West, who only got it done once I think it was one out of 9 times.
Yeah. 1 in 9.
So I mean, he's the logo, but the guy that got it done 10 out of 11, 9 playing and 1 coaching, that guy is.
If anyone, I think also with the logo, it wasn't just about the pure dominance. It's kind of like, how could I say this shit? Like pizzazz, or the kind of the swag, because the way that the NBA logo is, it's kind of like, you know what I'm saying, he dribbling the ball. It looks a little, you know what I'm saying, like, what word could I use? It looks a little swagged out, some shit like that. Like, it doesn't. What emblem or what logo could Bill have? Like catching a rebound off the rim as the logo for the NBA?
Just have a logo dunking on them boys. I mean, I don't think that they wanted that imagery because they know who was down there. It wasn't black guys down there.
Right. Right.
I mean, the imagery that goes with that alone. I mean, I do think that there is a part of it that plays into it in terms of, like, Jerry West is dribbling. He's going around the corner to hit that shot, that sweet shot that he's known for. And make no mistake about it, man. If you, like you said, you can't control who's put in front of who. Jerry West was a murderer, man. Jerry West was a certified killer within his own right. But again, one could argue that if Rick Barry was playing in the league during the time Jerry West got his championship, he might not have got it. So there's a lot to be said about those individuals. And not to go back to basketball, but that's those are very, very valid points. That Tom Brady, like you said, the Tom Brady Joe Montana thing. From a greatness standpoint, Tom went more, he won more, and so there's a super. There's his reign over the volume was superseded as well as his. I mean, you can't eclipse the win percentage, but I mean, Joe never even got to the game outside of those times. You know what I'm saying? So that's that. I'm gonna throw another name out there. I'm gonna throw another name out there for you. How do you feel about damn, this is about to be cliched in a motherfucker. How you feel about OJ? And I mean no pun intended behind this when I say he like I know he's a he's a killer. Yeah. So yeah, you gotta unmute yourself too, by the way, DJ, because you muted right now. Nope, still muted. I think DJ's having some technical difficulties. Still muted. So while we waiting on DJ to come back, man, yeah. OJ Simpson still holds the single season record for rushing in a season, and then did it in 12 games, where these guys are playing 16 and now 17. Hey. Hold on. All right, you back.
Am I back?
Yeah, you back.
Now, OJ Simpson. Now, that's another player I wasn't fortunate, but you can look up, and see some of the records he was breaking. A lot of shit that he was doing then. Hey, a lot of stuff that OJ did then in today's game, running backs can't do. Like, he was one of them larger than life kind of people because of his greatness too. So I think he ran, if I'm not mistaken, I think he ran for about 2,000, about 3-4 less games than that we have today, or that is played today. So OJ dominance is one of those things, like, where you have to pay homage to. You have to give it up for it.
Yeah, man. I that's what I was kind of alluding to. OJ ran for 2,322 or 23 yards or something like that.
Can't be 300. Can't be 2,300. Record is 2,105.
Is it
109?
Is it? Wait, he still holds the record.
Nah, Erickson got the most yards in the season.
No. Oh, no. OJ still holds the record for most yards per game in a season.
Oh yeah, sure.
He did it in a 12 game season. So
right.
I mean,
he's ridiculous.
That's a whole 4 games less than the modern era, and now we're going to 17 games. So the stat padding is going to continue from year to year.
So that is a real thing then. Like, they're making weeks where they play 17 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, that's crazy. What up, boy? Boy, I tell you. You talk about certified killers. Try to go to sleep with this guy around. Jeez. Nah, man, I just wanted to kind of have a brief conversation to see how that all this was gonna work, man. Great conversation with you. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. You got any final comments before we wrap up the live?
Oh no, man! I'm looking forward to doing this. This is brief. Yeah, I didn't get the extent of my personality or my passion, but I was real laid back today.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned for much more to come, man. Y'all have a great day, and we'll holler.
Yes, sir.